This just in, Manitoba. It's coming! It's headed right for us! Let's go! Good afternoon, everyone. This is Justin with the Weather Center of Manitoba coming to you with another update on this Colorado low that is imminently headed for our province. And we can really see that if we look at our current satellite imagery. See that there is a lot of cloud coverage here, and we got a lot of moisture streaming up from the Pacific Northwest of the United States, streaming into the Western Prairies, southern Alberta, into central Saskatchewan this afternoon. And what that is going to do is it's already creating some snow across, again, central areas of Alberta, pushing into west central Saskatchewan this afternoon. And that area is going to continue moving northeastward and head up towards northern Manitoba and pretty much bring snowmageddon to northern Manitoba over the next 2 to 3 days. In terms of southern Manitoba, we got a little bit of cloud coverage and some lingering light snow showers along the boundary that brought a fresh coat of snow to Brandon and other areas across southern Manitoba last night into the early morning hours of this morning. That is currently lifting north into the Interlake region and starting to head out of the area. However, unfortunately, it looks like we do still have quite a bit of cloud coverage here pushing north, just in time for, of course, the total lunar eclipse that's supposed to be happening tonight. But yeah, I guess we're not going to be able to see it because it's going to be very cloudy across southern Manitoba. I was looking forward to it, but maybe areas across northern Manitoba, especially northeast Manitoba up toward Churchill, might have a chance to catch a glimpse of that total lunar eclipse happening in the early morning hours. Okay, so let's take a look at our current European model, and you can see this afternoon we've got still that boundary that I was just talking about as we were looking at our satellite imagery across the Interlake region, bringing some light snow still through the afternoon hours. That will dissipate through the evening hours into the overnight period, and then here is our system here across Alberta and southwestern Saskatchewan, starting to bring snow to Alberta into central areas of Saskatchewan, and that will continue to push northeast into Manitoba. And this is now showing tomorrow around lunchtime. We see the snow entering northwestern Manitoba into areas like the Paw and Flin Flon. And the snow will continue to spread northeast from there, going into Friday night, headed toward Thompson, Manitoba. And then going into Saturday morning, that snow reaches northeastern Manitoba, areas around Churchill, Gillam, Shamattawa, getting into some of that snow, also areas like Snow Lake, Manitoba. And you can see it's still snowing further back here in the Thompson area and also back toward the Saskatchewan border in Flin Flon and the Paw as well. So this is a long durational snowfall, as we talked about in yesterday's video, and we continue to go through time, and the snow just continues to really sit over northern Manitoba. This is now going into Saturday afternoon, and you can see our main low pressure center isn't really anywhere close to Manitoba. In fact, it's situated over southern Minnesota in the United States, but it's bringing that snow all the way up into northern Manitoba, and it's also bringing a mixed bag of precipitation into southeastern Manitoba. There will be a chance of freezing rain in the Winnipeg area and southeastern Manitoba on Friday late evening into the early morning hours of Saturday, as that system moves through the upper Midwest of the US. And then now this is getting into Saturday evening and Saturday night. You can see the snow is starting to exit northern Manitoba, but still impacting areas along the Hudson Bay Coastline, including Churchill and York Factory. And the snow and precipitation should be done by Saturday evening across southern Manitoba. But again, if you're in Winnipeg or anywhere in the Red River Valley, southeastern Manitoba, and you have plans to travel east Saturday evening, you will be running into that heavy snowfall into northwestern Ontario. And we have these tight isobars on the map, all these squiggly lines, and that means there's going to be a lot of wind with this system. So there could be some really poor visibility and traveling weather conditions as we go into, again, Saturday evening and Saturday night, going east into northwestern Ontario. So it might be better to hold off on that travel until later on Sunday, or yeah, just postpone your travel plans until maybe next week at some point. And then finally, as we go into Sunday, the snow has exited southern Manitoba and most of northwestern Ontario. Still gusty winds hanging on, especially east into northwestern Ontario. But if you notice, that low, Colorado low, is now going up to enter Hudson Bay, and Churchill is still in snow, and in fact, the entire Hudson Bay coastline. And we have very strong wind gusts, so we're likely to see a blizzard happening there across extreme northeastern Manitoba on a Saturday night and into and throughout the day Sunday. So we expect blizzard warnings likely to be issued along the Hudson Bay coastline over the next day or two in advance of this Colorado low. Okay, so now let's check some model data here showing us our expected snowfall accumulations over the next 3 days. This is looking at our NAM model. We can see that snow really accumulates later this afternoon, going into the early morning hours of Friday across central Alberta, pushing east into Saskatchewan, places like Edmonton, east toward Lloydminster. And then as we go through the day Friday, that's when the snow enters here far western Manitoba and into northern Manitoba. We see that Flin Flon and the Paw, Manitoba, already between 15 and 25 centimeters of snow by Friday afternoon. This is 3 p.m. And we keep going through time, and that snow just continues to batter that area around Flin Flon, and now starting to stretch east northeastward toward Thompson. Thompson NAM model has 20 centimeters for you on the ground by Saturday morning at 10 a.m. And then that snow continues to file northeastward as the Colorado low enters Hudson Bay late Saturday night and into the day Sunday. The snow continues to pile up along the Hudson Bay coastline. I think this may be overdoing it a little bit. However, if the low does enter Hudson Bay and retrogrades and kind of sits over the area, there could be quite a lot of snow around Churchill and Gillam and Shamattawa, York Factory. NAM model has maybe up to half a meter of snow around the Churchill area by Sunday night. And then we see that axis of snow also goes further southwest and includes places like Thompson and again Flin Flon and the Paw. So really, I think from Flin Flon northeastward, including Thompson, up to Churchill, into Hudson Bay, and then looping back around toward Gillam, that's where we're going to be having our axis of the heaviest snowfall with this event over the next few days. Now we can touch on southern Manitoba, and the NAM model shows really not a lot of snow at all, especially across southwestern Manitoba, 1 centimeter for Brandon. However, it does show that there may be an axis of some heavy snow through Winnipeg and the Red River Valley, maybe about 20 centimeters, but the models are really inconsistent still, even just a couple days out from this snowfall event, in terms of where this heavy band of snow is going to set up. Will it be over Winnipeg? Maybe will it be further east into northwestern Ontario, places like Dryden, or will it fall a little further west? I don't think it's going to go much west of Winnipeg. I think it'll probably hug the Ontario-Manitoba border, but we will see. Okay, let's quickly touch on another model run, this time the RDPS model, showing our snowfall accumulations over the next few days. And it shows and paints a very similar picture as the NAM model did. And again, we see that heaviest snow axis through northern Manitoba, including Flin Flon, the Paw, northeast into Thompson, and then further east-northeast into Gillam, and then up into Churchill and toward Hudson Bay. That's where we're expecting, again, that axis of heaviest snow, likely 20 to 40 plus centimeters of snow over the next few days. It also shows similar amounts across southern Manitoba, where we may have a few pockets of heavier snow in the Red River Valley. The RDPS model even shows maybe a heavier swath of snow through the Parklands region of western Manitoba. But the chance of that is just going to be way more isolated and sporadic across southern Manitoba, whereas across the north, we're pretty much locked in on this area circled in red to have a really heavy snowfall over the next few days. Now, one of the major concerns across southern Manitoba with this Colorado low is the risk of freezing rain with this system, specifically later on in the day Friday evening into Friday night, and going into the early morning hours of Saturday across the Red River Valley, including Winnipeg, Steinbach, Sprague, and the Whiteshell region. This is the NAM 3 kilometer run, the 12 Zulu run that came out a few hours ago, and it shows a pretty good area of freezing rain impacting Winnipeg and portions of the Red River Valley going into Friday night. This is at 10 p.m. on Friday night. We see that this particular model, again, the NAM 3K, has 6 millimeters of freezing rain potentially for Winnipeg, and it kind of follows Highway 75 south of Winnipeg. So just be weary about that there could be some freezing rain impacting the major highway there, 75, Friday night into the early morning hours of Saturday. Now, I want to quickly touch on Environment and Climate Change Canada's significant weather outlook. They issued new ones this morning, and this is for the day Friday, from Friday at midnight to Saturday at midnight. And it's showing two areas that we want to keep an eye on. The first area that we were highlighting through the model data, that the Paw and Flin Flon area, where there could be some moderate impacts Friday with 10 to 20 centimeters of snow. And then also there is now an axis here through Winnipeg and the Red River Valley, southeastern Manitoba, where there could be some moderate impacts throughout the day Friday, with risk of some freezing rain and 1 to 2 millimeters of ice accretion potentially in that area. So those are the two areas we're looking at for Friday. In terms of our Saturday, the main risk area shifts eastward to cover the entirety of eastern Manitoba, but this time including areas like Thompson, up toward Gillam, Manitoba, and then south through, again, the entirety of eastern Manitoba, east of Lake Winnipeg and Lake Manitoba, and including Winnipeg and down into the southeastern corner of the province. And across southeastern Manitoba, we can look for potentially 5 to 10 centimeters of snow, and again, 1 to 2 millimeters of ice accretion potentially through southeastern Manitoba. And then across the north, it's going to be all snow, 10 to 20 centimeters on the way for Saturday. But I honestly think it could be a lot more than 10 to 20 centimeters. Again, current model guidance we just looked at was showing an axis something like this of about 20 to 40 centimeters of snow. Definitely, I think it's going to be a high-end snow event for northern Manitoba. Not as much snow across southern Manitoba, but there will be that risk for some freezing rain and ice accretion through Winnipeg, Red River Valley, and southeastern Manitoba, specifically Friday night into the early morning hours of Saturday. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that update. Stay safe this weekend. It's looking like a nasty storm, especially again across northern Manitoba. There will be that risk of some freezing rain Friday night into Saturday morning across southeastern Manitoba, but regardless, everyone's going to be into quite a bit of wind with this system. There will be probably some blowing snow, especially across the north, where there's going to be a lot of that snowfall accumulation happening. That's it for now. Stay tuned for further updates. Thanks for watching.